What's up, y'all? It's Elle, and this is the L-Matic View. And today we're going to be talking about that J. Cole album that was just released a week ago called K.O.D, meaning Kings, Kings on Drugs, Kings Overdose, and Kill Our Demons. And so we were kind of surprised when we heard that J. Cole was dropping an album and just randomly he drops it on 420, right? And so he released the meaning of the acronym K.O.D, and then releases it on 420, which is kind of ironic and iconic at the same time because we all know what 420 is. And so before he drops the album, he gives us the cover of this album, and the artistry was actually illustrated by an artist from Detroit called Six Moo. He's a 22-year-old artist, and he said that him and J. Cole were in the studio during the All-Star weekend, and just some creative juices were flowing. When he told him the vision of the album, that's when he came up with this illustration, which is again extremely iconic, along with this amazing album that he's released during this opioid crisis that we've been experiencing the last several years. And I want to break down this album track by track. And as I was listening, I was at work. I'm at work for 8 hours. I literally listened to this album 11 times while I was at work, jotting notes down, making sure that I was actually sinking in and focusing in on everything that he was saying, because this is not only affecting, this is affecting me in my lifetime, and not just for millennials, but even the elderly that are getting to this whole opioid crisis. And I want to actually have a two blog series on the opioid crisis after speaking on the J. Cole album. So the album's introduction goes into this jazz flow, and it almost reminds you of a little bit of a Duke Ellington, this Harlem Renaissance era. And the thing that stood out to me from the female narrative was trapped inside of myself. And that gets you to thinking, as sometimes you're just all into your feelings and you're all into your head, and you start to overthink and overprocess things. And we always hear let go, let God, or just let things flow, but that's always easier said than done. And they start to speak of children, and when you're a newborn as an infant, and what your natural reactions are of laughter is I love this. Crying is you're either frightened or you're in some sort of pain. It said that life brings you a lot of pain in many ways. To deal with your pain, choose wisely. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. They said that several times, because our natural reaction is to do something that dims that light, that dumbs us down, and normally that's drugs and alcohol. And I've been there. I've gone through traumatic things in my life, but the first thing I want to do was hit the club and get some drinks in me, because I could forget about the pain that I was enduring. We've all been there. I just haven't had that harsh reality where I hit rock bottom to do hard drugs or become a full-blown alcoholic, I don't think. So I like about the album was a lot of creative beats that he had going on, especially in that second track. And he speaks about niggas not being worthy of being featured on this shit. But he also features a guy called K.O.D. And so it makes you think, if niggas isn't worthy, who was K.O.D.? And if you think about it, as K.O.D. is singing, you can tell it's a little bit of auto-tune on top of that. I personally think that that's J. Cole and his alternative musical ego. That's what I'm thinking that is. I like the fact that as the end of the song goes, they say power, greed, money, molly, weed, perks, Xannies, lean, fame, and the strongest drug of them all, love. Love. We all want love. We'll do anything for someone to love us. That was deep. I had to listen to that a couple times. Just that little part. The strongest drug of them all. We get into the third track, which is Photograph. And that talks about, of course, us as millennials being the social media era, and how we fall in love with the internet. We fall in love with people on the internet. And it's that false reality of what we were hoping people are in. Because social media, none of that is factual. None of that is real life. I mean, you can sometimes document things and hoping that it's a true testimony, but we ultimately don't know what people are experiencing in their life via social media. And he says that I fell in love with you through a photograph, wonder if you'll follow back. Love today is through digital, and it's messing with my health. That right there speaks for itself, because the internet is ruining people's lives and giving us this false sense of hope and this false sense of reality, and making us want to move forward in life faster than we're supposed to, thinking that we're not supposed to struggle, or that everybody's built like Bernie's Burgos, and Bernie's Burgos ain't even built like Bernie's Burgos. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a bunch of false bullshit via social media. And we've all fell into that. I mean, I would look at these women and hate myself for having stretch marks and cellulite until, somebody gonna love my stretch marks and cellulite. You understand what I'm saying? So And I have to be the person that loves my stretch marks and say it. Like, I can't go back to, again, track 2 where he speaks of the strongest drug of them all is love. Wanting someone else to love me, I have to love me. So the album just gives you so many different realms of rawness, realness, authenticity that we don't have right now. And the great thing about 2018 musically is that we've had so much great music. We've had Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap. We've had Damn by Kendrick Lamar. 444 by Jay-Z, even though that was 2017, we're still moving into that musical channel of 2018. Then we're getting that rawness, that realness, that things that us as a black community, we need to wake the fuck up and get out of this lean, perk, Zanny world. This things that are not real life, you know, not dealing with what it is. We can't just always push things under the rug, and that is an issue with us as a black culture, that we don't talk about anything. We brush everything under the rug. We feel to just deal with it how we figure to deal with it and not deal with it mentally and actually process things. And that is deeper than rap to me. Let's see. I got so many damn notes, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. And I can't even read my own damn handwriting. That's how many notes I got. He also speaks about something that was deep for me too. You know, fighting demons, popping pills to fight demons, and how in the black community, you know, that it was one song when he was supposed to be talking to Uncle Sam. And he's like, nigga, I ain't giving you 50% of my money. And he's saying, how am I giving you guys 50% of my money, or I'm paying taxes, something that I'm not even seeing what it's done for my community. You know, I'm paying taxes for schools and for this, but the black kids I know don't even have books in their schools. We don't think about stuff like that. It's like, damn, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about where is this money really going, because we ain't benefiting from it. You know, I know teachers personally that are trying to educate their students and they have no utensils and they're paying out of their own pocket and they already don't make no damn money. So many things that he just had to talk, he was speaking about. And what I loved about that track too was he had a Richard Pryor clip. And we all love Richard Pryor, but it was just so many just great things in this album. He also spoke of how he was a fake nigga, and it's never been clearer. How he talked about he plants the seeds and I still lingers in my mind. I'm talking about a woman and how he's fake towards her, but he loves her, but he can't be the man that he wants her to be. I'm sorry, he can't be the man that she wants him to be. That was something that was deep for me. I don't think a lot of guys understand that you aren't giving her the real, and everyone wants to proclaim to be this real nigga, this real man, and you're really not. You are fake, and when she finally leaves you, that good woman's gonna always be stuck in your mind. He also speaks of a mother that's always drunk, and she has a boyfriend that's having babies on her, and the children are having to be the victim of her burdens. And that's one thing too that actually a friend of mine, Joe Porter, what's up, Joe? He actually asked me to speak on a parenting situation too that he was having a debate with someone about, and I'm going to get to that later on the maybe in a couple more episodes. But parents don't understand that you aren't the only ones that are going through things. And though when all this dysfunction is going on in the household, the children are directly affected, whether or not you want to believe it or not. You think you ain't got nothing to worry about, you a kid, but I'm worried about you because you my mama, and I can't go to sleep at night because you and daddy arguing and fighting all the damn time. And those dysfunctions linger on to them becoming adults, and they think that those things are okay, and then they start to love dysfunctionally like the things that they saw. I know, because personally I thought arguing was love. I thought verbal abuse was love, because that's what I saw with my parents. And although they were young and they were trying to get through their own things, and I don't resent them at all because of that, because they were super young and they've seen things in their childhood, and it's a trickle down effect, and it's a generational curse that has not been broken. And I gotta be the person that's gonna break that. And that's when you can't medicate, you have to meditate. You know, just about how so many things go in the black community, you know, and that the first thing, like I said, you want to do is you want to go out and get high or have a good time to just erase those negative memories, those negative thoughts. But you have to actually deal with that. And us as black people, we don't want to go to therapy. You know, you consider crazy if you're in therapy or talking to somebody. I want them telling my business. Well, the therapist ain't supposed to tell your business. And the thing about it is they don't know you and you don't know them. So they tell somebody, what damn difference does it make at that point? But I know personally that therapy really does work. I've been several times since I was probably 11 or 12 years old. I've spoken before. I've suffered from depression and anxiety, going through trauma as a young child with my father being murdered, abandonment issues. I could have easily fell into the arms of wanting a man to love me. you know, going back to the second track, or having someone or falling into the lines of drugs and alcohol, trying to erase those ill thoughts. But instead, my mother and my grandfather thought the best thing for me was to go seek counseling from a third party that didn't know me from a can of paint. And although it was a very difficult thing to do, it has been effective thus far, because I would not be able to give you guys this if I had not done that. So I thank my first therapist. I can't think of her name. She wore black all the time, so I think she was a Mormon. I don't know. That's random, but she was awesome, and I thank her for that to this day. And if anyone has any questions about therapy or how to reach out to people, DM me. Anything we talk about is confidential. I'll give you guys some referrals, because it's so very important. It's nothing wrong with seeking someone to help you get through some things, because you are not put on this earth to do anything by yourself. God didn't create Eve for nothing. If that's the case, he left Adam by himself. You have to have someone to get through things with. And so, and I actually got that from somebody. Samantha, what's up to you? We had a conversation not so long ago. When she made that statement, it was like, oh, I get that. That's, you know, that's deep. Window pane. When that little girl talked about her cousin that was shot in front of her, that brought back, I was in tears, because although I didn't see my father murdered in front of me, I visualized his murder in my head for years, you know. And that is our reality. You know, when you hear things like that, that's not normal for some people, but that's our normal. But is that really normal? You know, and that's why we need counseling, and that's why we need to seek therapy, and that's why we have to deal with things to understand our minds and what's going on psychologically and within our community as well, because the shit ain't sweet. And to hear her say that God's going to come back for us, and God does, you know, it isn't all good in the world because God is testing us. She's a child. And for her to know that was just remarkable. And I don't know that girl, J. K.O.D don't know the little girl, but she's going to be somebody one day. I'm about to cry now just thinking about that. That was just like super deep. So then we're going to roll into 1985. Now that track was, he was throwing all types of shade to the hip hop community with that track. He said, white people want to see you look like a fool and realize the impact. White people think that that's how all black people are. One day, you have to be an influence. You're riding trends and waves, and in 5 years, you'll be on Love and Hip Hop. So, basically, the gist of this album, and not even just, I spoke about a couple people's album. Also, Solange had a great album, too, that spoke of just blackness and for us, by us. And she had Master P doing the interludes, and that was great for our culture. One thing that he also stood out to me that he said was, black kids have to figure it out. We don't have a rehab. We have to rehab ourselves. So we're going through things. The only thing we know how to do is just to self-medicate and be angry and lash out and to fight, and just, that's just how they are. No, that's some issue. That's some deep-rooted things they've gone through, some trauma they've gone through, or maybe they didn't go through, but they had experience that someone else went through and it directly affected them, and they haven't dealt with those issues. So opposed to doing drugs or trying to just live into the now and thinking, well, that's hip because these rappers are saying that's what they doing, they got some issues too. Go seek some help. Go get some therapy. Meditate. Read some books. It's so very important to just understand yourself. Get into your own head. Understand why you do the things that you do. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to miraculously you'll do better. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. Trust me, because I have watched myself be an angry black woman that was always feisty and getting into it, and people hating to be around me because I was always into some shit, to being a very positive person. And that was such a great life to live, and just being peaceful and being serene, because I had to get into my own head, to separate myself. I had to analyze people around me, analyze my family members, read some psychology books, some sociology books, some philosophy, you know, just understand what's going on around me and myself, and why I feel the way I feel, and dealing with my father's death that I had never dealt with, and I spoke about that before, and dealing with my depression and my being overweight, and just things like that that had been affecting me my whole life that I didn't deal with. And I had to actually get into myself, was praying to God. Now, you know, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but that was something that I know I had to do. And I love J. Cole for speaking up and making black people accountable, and making them feel like that their actions have to be on the forefront. And these people on these platforms have to understand that it's not just you that you're affecting. You're affecting people that are looking up to you, people that are coming after you, and the people, and respect for the people that became before you. So if you have not listened to this album, you got to listen to this album. And if you're not a J. Cole fan, because so many people just aren't, it's not even about being woke. It's just about being real. Stop talking about you real when you ain't ready to hear real shit. Because this is real stuff. This is what's going on right now. Because what y'all understand about these drug addicts nowadays, they ain't going to be like your uncle and auntie that can fix your car and clean your house up. They robbing, they killing your ass. Because we too spoiled to know any type of domestic abilities. Our mamas ain't make us clean shit. We ain't shoving no snow. We ain't cutting no grass. I didn't start washing dishes about 5-6 years ago. Just being quite frank. So what's going to happen to these people? We're going to be a continuously a generation of sleepers and fakers and phony. And that ain't what we need to be. We got to really just understand, because Trump our president. Just to get back on that too. We got to really just wake up and be and become unified and become together. And we cannot do that if we're living in a false reality. So my next vlog is going to be on the debate, my debate for myself, this opioid crisis versus the crack epidemic, and why those two words are a big deal for me. And it's going to become racial. And some people might not want to hear that. You know, everything isn't about race. But for me, nowadays, and just period, it's about race, systematically. So, thank you for tuning into the Elemental View. Please go get J. Cole's album. Please go get Nipsey album. Please go get Solange album. Please go get Jiggers. Please go get Kendrick. This was shit we gotta listen to and bang that shit. So, after you done listening to Jim Jones, after you done listening to DZ, after you done listening to Blade Icewood, go get some shit too. That's not just about, you know, our community, you know, because those are albums too that's about our own truths too. But that's focused on how we're gonna get past that and make it better. So this is the Elemental View. Keep tuning in. Also, make sure you subscribe, repost, retweet, read everything. I'm trying to apply for this job at Hot 1075. I need y'all to go on in and vote for me on that. Tag them, tag me, add them, hashtag Elemental View, hashtag your mama, hashtag everybody, because this shit got to happen, because we need some real substance on the radio in Detroit. And I'm that girl. Peace out.